Hello everybody, Floppy Hat Photos back here again with our Idiot's Guide to Woodworking, and this one's going to be a little bit of metalworking so I can do better woodworking is what I'm going to be doing today. So what I'm going to do, this is my Craftsman skill saw, just a little contractor type movable system. You can, on a little sawhorse type looking thing. I've had it forever and ever. Like I've had this thing probably since, I'm guessing like the probably 90s, I would say. I probably had in the early 90s when I got this table saw, and I've always hated this thing. One, the fence isn't good. The tabletop itself is aluminum, so you can't use any magnet mounts. Handful of times I keep telling myself, maybe just break down and buy a new table saw. But the table saw I want, it's like a saw stop now, and they're like a couple grand plus. I don't want to spend a couple grand, so I'm being a super cheapskate. So what I'm going to do here, the biggest flaw in this whole thing though, I don't really see, there's these little tabs that stick out here on the side of this stupid saw. And what it's designed for is when you put in your crosscut, it actually hooks in there and it keeps it from pulling out. Now, why you'd ever want that to happen, I have no idea, because a lot of times you'd want to be able to lift this straight up out of there and it'd be nice to have, but I cannot do that. So, and this, as you can see, it flops around. It's super unsteady. It's not a good saw, or not a good crosscut sled. So I want to make an actual sled that's going to set in both these grooves. So what my plan is, I'm going to cut these little tabs off so I can just lay in wood in there. Put a sheet of plywood on top of it and go from there. What we're using today, good set of gloves. Got to have a good set of gloves. Earmuffs for hearing protection. Face shield to keep the debris, the flying stuff out of my face. And just an air-powered little cutoff wheel here is all we're doing. Now I'm just going to come in here and just nick off these edges of these, hopefully. I'm going to cut them back so they're a little bit far back, because I don't know if you can really see here. It grooves in and then comes out and grooves in again. So I'm going to try and smooth those off a little bit. That way nothing gets hung up. No idea how well it's going to work. I figure worst case scenario, all I'm going to have is just a regular crappy crosscut that fits in there loose anyway. So it'll really stop me. I'll have no real worst case world damage here. Worst case is it's going to be as crappy as it was to begin with. So best case scenario, I'll be able to cut some little short pieces of wood, lay in there as a channel, and make an actual crosscut sled for this table saw. So that's all I got for now. I'll check back with you in a second. Well, I just wanted to take this time to say thank you for watching this, and if you have a common saw like this, was a very common contractor saw back in the day, sold in many places. It's been a really good saw for me. This went as well as I could have expected. Unfortunately, I don't have the best air compressor. as you heard me earlier, how to turn it back on because it's so noisy. I was trying to let you hear the saw as it worked, but I had to wait a couple times to get enough air pressure to actually cut these off. I could have went and got an electric grinder and it would have worked about as easily, but I like the air saw. I don't use it that much, so when I do get a chance, I try and use it as much as I can. So I went ahead and did that. I also, the saw blade, as you can see, the cutoff wheel was getting pretty small, so it allowed it to fit in that little hole a little better, as opposed to having a full-size disc on there that was brand new. It wouldn't have been as easy to kind of tuck in there. I made those holes a little bit narrower than what they needed to be maybe, so it wouldn't get hung up and caught on it when I put the sled in. I have not actually finished this project. I did make the runners. I made the flatbed. I did not make the rest because I ended up actually selling the saw. I wasn't going to put this video up because of that reasoning, because I couldn't show you the finished product. But I thought, well, maybe somebody else has this same saw, needs to cut these little ledges, or what you want to call them, lips off of there, and I want to show them how easy it was. This was not sped up or slowed down. This was all shot real speed, so it does not take long at all to cut these off of there. The hardest part is trying to get it lined up straight. You could have done with a file. There's many different things you could have used in that process. But once you grind those little tabs off there, you can just cut yourself some hardwood, oak, or whatever you want to use in there to make your runners. So I'd stay away from your soft woods like pine snap because it's going to wear out too quickly. Also, if you want, you can throw a little bit of like wax on there, a little beeswax like that, to make it slide much smoother in the whole process. So anyway, that was my wrap up for this little progress, even though, like I said, unfortunately I didn't get a chance to show you the whole finished sled because I never actually ended up finishing the sled before I sold the saw. So that's all I got for now. Thank you very much for watching. Please have yourself a safe and wonderful day, and be sure and use protection and common sense when you're out working with any kind of power tool at all. So it's your responsibility to keep your fingers safe. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.